Dynamite Download.
Dynamite Download, your home for all positive coverage with all elite wrestling.
Oh, you guys, positive energy.
This reality, like, it is me. Like,
who let this guy in here?
This is what pro wrestling's supposed to feel like.
I'm saying I have a better record than Kenny Omega and Samoa Joe, and now I'm going to have to wrestle them.
I've never seen someone able to break down, like, wrestling like he does.
I said, Mariah May, she said, who?
Because I'm so driven. And I'm so moved to like what I want to do.
The versus Brian Keith match.
It's awesome. It's so cool. You got like these creepy ass dudes.
Oldest ride, longest line.
I was like deep diving into like cults.
My real story does connect with a lot of people.
I never say never about anything.
Back to do an interview with those guys. You know why? Because they spread positivity about AEW.
Welcome to Dynamite Download.
Woohoo! Whoa, hold on. Behind you. Do I need to... there's a fire behind you. There's a fire behind you.
Well, yes, there's a fire behind me.
Oh my. What is up, everyone? Welcome. Dynamite Download episode 143. SPD is back in the saddle after celebrating my wedding anniversary last week. So it feels good to be back. We got a new set too. We got some nice red, white, and blue colors there, and always got the confetti going on after this all in. And wow, I mean, a lot's happened since we spoke last with the culmination of All In and now leading up to All Out. Last night was quite the show, and we'll dive deep into that.
Quite the house burner, if you will.
Yeah, it's quite the barn burner, if you know what I mean.
Yes, it was.
But we approaching All Out. I was looking through my camera roll today. I got reminders. I was at All Out last year, kind of on a whim. Went there. I was working, and I got off work early, and I was like, let me just get a ticket. And I was pretty close. So 2023, I was at All Out. 2021. Where some of those clips are that we play in our intro with the cold spray and then the QT Marshall. So that was quite the feat there. We got right there a picture of us with QT Marshall, our guy. And then I was going through this back in 2021. And we got, of course, the Nate.
Woo!
Oh, that's de-glassified SPD right there. Of course, we got...
Rare. The shades have come off.
Miss Thunder.
There you go. Thunder. Rosa.
Let's see. And we got, well, not to be outdone, the DMD.
Of course, the DMD. Got to have that. And wasn't this the moment where you guys were tailgating?
Yeah.
And a limo came up, window rolled down, and somebody said...
This podcast is, quite frankly, the drizzling shit, if I'm being quite honest.
That is where the culmination, the first time we heard the drizzling shits, and that is correct. I was waiting, funny story, not to get too sidetracked, the interaction with MJF himself. And so we were happened to be at the hotel the talent was staying at, which was great. A fantastic weekend. And I'm waiting for Crayfish and our other buddy Bonds go get the car. I'm like, grab the car. I'm just going to wait here so you can pick me up. As I'm waiting there, black SUV pulls up, rolls down the back window, and he said, Dynamite Download is the drizzling shits. And I'm like, or no, and then he goes, and Dynamite Download sucks donkey, you know what?
Yeah.
So that was hilarious. So fast forward to after the show, we're at the bar, and of course, MJF comes to himself. We're bellied up to the bar, which we're in VIP. We've already got to know the bartender, so she kind of serves us over all these wrestlers. We're kind of like on the end. So like we're getting Bryce Rimsberg a drink. We're getting these people a drink. So MJF, we were crazy. Like, what do you want? And he gets asked for a margarita, of course, extra salt of the earth. And every drink we brought him, we stuck a Dynamite Download sticker on it, and we handed it to him right into his face. he was peeling it off, and he was putting it on Chuck Taylor and Sean Spears, or, you know. So it was really funny experience. Great experience, that's for sure.
Awesome. Nate, the salt of the earth. You got it. You know, our scumbag.
Absolutely. Definitely. Well, like I mentioned, as we're approaching All Out, that means Dynamite Download Draft Season 3 is slowly coming to an end, and right around the corner is going to be season 4. But let's talk about where we stand here for season 3 right now.
Woo! Well, Mr. SPD.
Oh my gosh.
It looks like you and I are in the same spot yet again.
2 former champs sitting at the middle of the pack.
Unbelievable. And even more so, the sprint to the finale here, the sprint to the finals. Brian's got a significant lead, but you've got Full Tilt Deb and Bobby right behind. Anything can happen. Of course, that bingo card's going to definitely give somebody a jump here. But wow,
Correct
what a
wrong. Deb has hit 2 bingos on this draft season, correct?
Yes.
So subtract 6 from that. I mean, she's that middle of the pack, and Brian would be really running away with it.
Yes.
So with that double bingo card pick, man, that's huge.
Huge. It's
You're
huge.
Right. Don't sleep on the bingo cards.
Don't sleep on it. And again, don't think that because Brian knows somebody that works at AEW. Don't think he's got the inside information, because he did not win the bingo card last time.
Right.
So
you're right.
We shall see.
Absolutely right. But yeah, I mean, Brian really jumped out to a steady early lead. It's that curse of, I hate to even say it, the Orange Cassidy curse that you snaked in last season with. So, with the formation of the conglomeration, I think we're seeing a lot of victories. And unlike last night, though, they took an L to the Trios champs.
Yes.
In the BCC and PAC. So, interesting to see where that starts to play out. But of course, OC is booked tomorrow, as he will, and he'll probably be booked in the pay-per-view. So it's still anybody's game at the top. FTD, selfishly, I'm rooting for you, because I think it's been a great run that you've had, and you've come so close. But looking at a stacked show tomorrow, 3 hours of wrestling, and then of course where we stand with the all-out card, a lot of points on the board. Still a lot of points available on the board to be had, and we'll see where we end up.
I have a premonition. I have a prediction, if you will.
Okay.
I've noticed a trend. Last season, Brian was the leftover taker. This season, he's running away with it. This season, Brent was the leftover taker. I see him running away with it for season 4. I have a feeling.
Season 4, okay.
I have a feeling Brent is going to be the guy to beat next season. He's already been scouting. He's already running the numbers. You know this. So I'm excited. Of course, Bobby loves that he's made some really great picks too. Bobby, I still love the fact that Bobby and Brian were fighting for last place last season. And this season, they're like in the top 3. So
yeah.
We'll see
what
happens.
Just quickly, I want to just look through these teams. I'm looking at Brian's. So, okay, I mean, he's got a couple points there on the board for All Out. And then we go to Bobby's. Definitely some points available there for All Out. And then where's FTD? Where's the queen? Let's find her. There she is right there.
That's Courtney. Yep. And then, yep.
Okay. Interesting.
Now,
so yeah, there's some points to be had. She's definitely guaranteed one in the main event.
Do we want to go nerdy for a second? Do we really want to go nerdy for just a second? Because Brent brought up he's got the Excel spreadsheet ready to go.
Is it your spreadsheet that he's reading off of, or does you have your own, Brent?
Let me share this. I did a little thing, and I went through and counted up.
Oh my gosh!
I know it. All I did, this is what I do. I went in and I looked at all of everybody that earned points in season 3 up until last night, and this is how many wins. Of course, it's green if there's 7 or more.
Okay.
Red if they're 2 or less. And you can already see Orange Cassidy got 13 points.
Jeez.
Kyle Fletcher, 8. Roderick Strong, Hook, both 7. Mariah May, 10. Tony Storm, 8. Claudio Castagnoli, Wheeler Yuta, Kyle O'Reilly, Mark Briscoe. So you can
I had
kind of
Briscoe, Strong, and Mariah May last season.
Yep. And those were some money makers this season. And Darby Allin, who somebody we didn't think would wrestle at all,
True,
ended up earning quite a few points. So that was just a little thing going through who was earning points, who got the most wins. And the hard lesson a lot of us have learned is it really isn't so much about sometimes going for the champion isn't the way to go. You go for the who's gonna get the most reps, who's going to end. Orange Cassidy continues to be the MVP, the Michael Jordan of getting points in our draft.
Well, for what it's worth, next week on Dynamite Download, we're going to have a championship celebration. And then we will also announce when we're going to do the next draft, which will be shortly after that. And so we kind of have a couple dates in mind. It's going to be the following week. And so we're looking at probably Friday night. As of now, we want to make sure our whole squad is available for this again, who is going to participate. So
Mark
we're looking at
calendars.
Friday the 20th, most likely. Friday Night Flights and Fights on that 20th there. That way we have a week to digest after All Out and then go into the change landscape because, talking about what happened last night and a lot happened. A lot of great stuff happened.
Yeah, got a little hot in there.
Very hot, very hot. But I think AEW did one of the best jobs at refocusing and regrouping so quickly after such a historic pay-per-view with All In. Like this pay-per-view going into All Out feels like a month later to me because of every new thing that we've got out of it and how great they have built this pay-per-view in such a short amount of time. And one of my slight critics last year was the back-to-back pay-per-views. It's kind of almost like pay-per-view fatigue in a sense.
Yes.
This by no means. And I think when this is all said and done, you're going to compare All In and All Out. And I think there's going to be people that would prefer one or the other. And when last year you can clearly like the All In is the Wembley moment, but this All Out is such a marquee, important pay-per-view. They've built this card to be one of the best pay-per-views of the year.
Yeah, I agree. And it's interesting, too. We've talked about this before, how Dynamite seems to be going with less matches and more segments. Realistically, there were only like 4 matches last night, yet it felt like a complete show. It really felt like a tremendous show. Granted, Okada and Fletcher went very long. I mean, twist my arm. But, I thought it was fantastic. But to build up so much in such a short amount of time is such a great way. Hats off to everybody. And they're also setting the tone for post All In or All Out. What's gonna, like you said, what's gonna be the landscape going forward? I'm sure we're gonna talk about that here in just a little bit. But the way, and I do like to, and I know that next year with All In Texas being earlier, I can see the build up to. I can see that they're going to have a little bit more time between the matches and whatnot, between the pay-per-views to set that up.
Right.
But yeah, to have that turnaround, I think they learned their lesson from last time. Like you said, the pay-per-view fatigue. I'm sure there's some people that still feel it because we just had All In, but this is it feels like a natural pay-per-view. I feel like we're going into it with some really awesome feuds, and I think that we're going to find out tomorrow, right before we go live for our prediction show. I think we're going to find out there's probably going to be at least 3 more matches announced tomorrow night.
And hi guys, Jericho is not on the card yet. I saw a tweet someone posted there's like 1 pay-per-view he hasn't been on the card. But one of the key things that we're going to find out tomorrow is who's going to face Okada, bitch. For the Continental Classic title. And I want to talk about this match because this was one of the best matches of the night, and got to give it to Kyle Fletcher over the last few months. This kid has shown a very, very impressive run of matches with some great caliber talent in the ring, and he has been dominating. I am a fan of Kyle Fletcher, and this guy is so impressive in the ring. From a tag team guy to going a singles specialist now, I can't imagine him going back to tag teams anytime soon. I think he's flourished so much as a single star, and I love that AEW is giving him all these opportunities. And I know you showed that stat of your spreadsheet of the 8 wins. It's one of those things. For a little while, I thought it was going to be the curse of like having such great matches and getting so many L's, but he's still racking up the W's too. So I think this kid is a stud, and he's a superstar. Okada finally getting in the ring. I picked him back up on my team for the second straight season. I happy to see he's starting to wrestle a little more frequently, but a little too late for my fantasy team on this one. But Okada just shows time and time again just his caliber of how he can go and pace matches so well and really adjust to his opponent so well in this match, man. What did you think of it?
I thought it was tremendous. And, always when you hear you hear Excalibur or Justin Roberts go, 15 minutes left in this match, you're like, oh, are we going to get a time limit draw? It's interesting because the match itself, tremendous. It's good to finally see Okada back in the ring. I also liked how Kyle Fletcher, how Okada's been spoofing his own, pan out moment where instead he's flipping the bird. Kyle Fletcher was mocking him. What I find interesting though, and it's with Don Callis, it's the manager's dilemma. Here's with Will Ospreay and Kyle Fletcher, you've got two athletes that are essentially baby faces right now, yet they're under Don Callis's rule. And I don't know if Callis is if they're waiting for the powerhouse to come back, or if it's going to be Roosh or what's going on. But I get the feeling that they're stringing us along a little bit, but they're setting us up for Don Callis to turn on Kyle Fletcher. What would be interesting is Powerhouse comes back, but also Mark Davis. And so Will Ospreay, Kyle Fletcher, Mark Davis reform their faction and break away from Callis. But I don't know. It's weird because you've got Don Callis, who is arguably the biggest heel in AEW, maybe biggest non-current wrestler heel.
For sure.
But you've got him managing Kyle Fletcher, who's arguably a babyface.
But they keep booking him as heel, sometimes babyface, sometimes heel, sometimes babyface. But I think the crowd is just naturally becoming fan of him, and he's naturally being a babyface, even if he is paired with the scum of the earth, Don Callis. And so I forget who did he go? He went against Brian Cage. And so Cage is a heel, and he went against someone else recently who was a heel. And then he's going against baby faces. And so it's like back and forth. Where is he booked at? But it's just great to see him just deliver these fantastic matches. And so I really like the fact that they're doing this 4-way match for the Continental Championship.
Yes.
And then they quickly announced, boom, 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 3 matches in a row, taking the breath out of Excalibur. And there we go. Orange Cassidy, of course, is going to be booked in this match. And then his buddy from the conglomeration, Mark Briscoe, and then Takeshita. I feel like I think that's the way you go. As much as I'd want Archer in the match versus Briscoe, even though Briscoe's awesome. Or you could somehow have Brian Keith win, but then it's so many heels in the match. But you need some red hot baby faces such as a Briscoe and an Orange Cassidy in this match, because you need to have those moments where it's 2-on-2 and so forth.
Okay. All right. Overbooking by Mindrunner. As much as popular and as hot as Beast Mortos is right now, because it's funny, people are Hologram and Beast Mortos are like the two newbies that everybody's loving. It was funny too, because recently they interviewed both Hologram and Beast Mortos and said about their rise in fame at AEW. And Hologram was quoted as saying, thank you everybody for the support. I really want to make you all proud. And then they asked Mortos what he thought, and his response was, "Rawr!" So that was his response. I think Takesha's got to win that match. I don't think that's going to be a problem. Yeah, I see. We said it before because Collision and Rampage are going to set up the rest of the card for All Out.
Mm-hmm.
What if the Bad Apple defeats Orange Cassidy? Brian Keith gets to be one of the four, but Brian Keith wins because of Chris Jericho interference, leading to the Jericho versus Orange Cassidy battle for because he even said, if you beat me, then I'm going to pay you the money I'll pay Jericho the money for his coat. I wonder if that's where they're going to go. If they're going to quickly activate a feud with Orange Cassidy and Chris Jericho, and maybe that might begin something, a feud of the Learning Tree versus the conglomeration post All Out.
Yeah, I could see that. I was kind of thinking that same thing. If you were to insert Jericho on the card, that would be the way to do it, where the Bad Apple upsets Orange Cassidy somehow, and then creating, OC versus Jericho, which, surprisingly, I really thought that feud was pretty dang good a few years ago. So I really did enjoy that feud. So if they rekindled that, maybe that's a little glimpse to the future there with his orange jacket. But we'll have to see on that one. One thing I want to mention, or next thing I want to talk about, is kind of a shock to, I think, the AEW landscape last week. The Moxley's kind of new tone and new look and new posse per se. So what are you making of this? Like, what's your thoughts on this? Because I'm loving it so far. I'm eager to see how this pans out. I'm really eager to see.
Okay, overbooking aside for a second, I think this is. I'm perplexed. One, I'm not a big fan of Mox. I miss Moxley's Wild Thing music.
Agree. I like that music.
This is his new thing. I've always said, everybody said it, that I've always said that Marina Shafir belongs with Moxley. Whatever incarnation this is supposed to be, if this is going to be, if he's still BCC or if this is some kind of new thing, Marina Shafir with Moxley is a great choice. But just keep her off the microphone. She doesn't need to talk. And I even think she needs to pull her hair back and go with less makeup. She needs to just look like almost like a Shayna Baszler, but she's going more like, I don't know. She's almost too glammed up, even though I don't know what kind of shorts those are. I think she needs to be more of be more dressed like she just got out of a dojo, rather than trying to go to the club. But I do think this is a good pairing. I'm really curious where they're going. It was interesting the way the EVPs felt a little bit funny around him, and the way he just kind of looked at Jack Perry and said, "You're a cute kid," or "Oh, you're a sweet kid," or something like that. So very interesting where that's going. And then, of course, he comes out for that promo. But last week, and I think some people not as many people are familiar with Romper Stomper, right, which I believe is the Russell Crowe movie that he was kind of not really imitating, but he was kind of drawing his own promo from in a way, but a little bit of Russell Crowe there, old school Russell Crowe. I don't know, but I think this has the feel of almost an NWO. Perhaps. I wonder if we're building to an authentic EVPs versus whatever faction Moxley creates. If we're building to that kind of matchup, and of course, a lot of people wondering when Moxley told Shivani, "This isn't your company anymore." And then I know Brent will refuse to watch the TV, and if this happens. But, I think the possibility of I've always said this. I've always thought that, maybe one of the a lot of people are wondering if Shane O'Mac is going to be involved. Here come the money. Money. A lot of people wondering if Shane O'Mac is going to be
that would be so. I think that would be so industry rattling. Having a McMahon on another company, even though it's not necessarily hasn't been done before with the WCW, but for looking at him just as is, I love Shane O'Mac. I think what he's done in his career all around, I have always been a fan. To have that name attached to you, he has given that name justice as a wrestler.
Yeah.
Vince was never a wrestler per se, but Shane O'Mac is definitely a wrestler. The guy is one of the most fearless ones I've seen. But back to this little mini faction, and hopefully is growing. I absolutely love the pairing. And I think these two are male and female, probably the two baddest male and females in AEW right now in terms of who will just kick the crap out of you no matter what. And I don't care if Marina Shafir's in sweatpants, in a minion costume. She could do whatever she wants. She's going to throw bodies the way she continues to throw bodies. She's scary. She's scaring me. And this is the way I wanted her to be booked. And I thought she was so underutilized for so long. And then having Moxley, literally, she's doing Moxley's dirty work. That's so strange to say that she's doing Moxley's dirty work. And she's cleaning house. She's knocking people cold, flipping them over the back. And he's just kind of like smirking and laughing and just like she's clearing the path for him. And it's great. If they don't even get anyone else, I'm happy with this pairing because these two are some of the two scariest people together. And,
I already know the third though. It just hit me because the theme here. Moxley's getting the people that he has openly talked about and vocally supported and supported in interviews. Who's his third it's going to be? And
who?
Powerhouse.
You think?
Can you imagine? Forget about Callis. Imagine Powerhouse Hobbs coming back and being the third of this trio.
Oh man, would love it.
Could you? Can you imagine that? That would be one intimidating trio right there. Just
sign
Powerhouse
us up for that. Absolutely. I mean, Powerhouse has shown so much growth and love watching him. Hopefully his recovery is going great. It looks like it is online. And if he's standing there side by side with Moxley and Shafir and Powerhouse, everyone needs to be running for the hills.
Love it. I'm glad they're using Marina Shafir like they should because I agree. I felt like she really got a botched start, and then again with I thought pairing her with Nyla was a good idea. Ooh, Miro.
That's a great one.
Miro is back in the States.
That's a great one too, Steven. I like it.
That's interesting.
To your comment up there, the promo, yes, I did expect a little more from Mox, and I'm not really sure his full intentions with Darby. Is it someone he wants to recruit? Is it someone he wants to fight? Is it something like I'm still I don't see the clear direction of what he's going with the Darby call outs. So we'll see. We'll see where that goes. Darby with this group, I don't know how that would work, but I mean, I think it could, but if he adds more muscle in a Powerhouse or a Miro, that would be pretty tough. I feel like I don't know if we're gonna get a clean. Somehow they have to address the BCC stuff. Yeah, is it going to be a clean break? Is it going to be just kind of tucked under the rug, and we're just kind of expect that he's done with the BCC, which he was one of the first ones, if not the first ones in the BCC to begin with. So I think it needs to be addressed, and that could lead to a Danielson Moxley match. Which would be pretty dang good as well. So we'll see where that one goes.
They do need to address it, and then we may even see something where Mox and perhaps Darby face Claudio and Wheeler in some way. Yeah. I know, and if you remember too, they were kind of working a story angle where Claudio was getting frustrated with the BCC. So I don't know if that's where they're gonna still go to, but we'll see.
The women's division was featured a lot last night, and
Yes.
I gotta give props to AEW to really featuring them more and more every single week on all shows. So 2 matches, a nice great segment with Mercedes, a lot of airtime. So our new champion Mariah May, the Beauty versus the Native Beast, Nyla Rose, as we have called her, the gatekeeper of the women's division.
Yes.
Making her first title defense after an awesome match at All In. This match to me was a top 3 match of All In. I was
Yes.
Some people critique that this going on so early. I think it was good that it went on early, even though it was so great. It set the bar high. It gave us a fresh, awesome match with the crowd being fresh and us being at home fresh as well. So I thought this match was just, I was marking out. I'm like, holy cow, this match is so good. One of the best women's matches I've seen at All In. And Mariah, just the storytelling alone in that match was just really, really incredible. To have this title defense here with Nyla, I loved her strategy. I loved her kind of cat and mouse that she was playing throughout. And the finish, she's stealing Tony's finish too. So I've always loved Mariah's offense and her physicality, and I think her title run is going to be a pretty tough one.
Yeah, I felt this particular match was fantastic too. I liked the chemistry with Mariah May and Nyla. Nyla is essentially, like we've talked about, the gatekeeper, like just kind of in a way what Lance Archer kind of used to be for the men's title. You know, she's kind of that gatekeeper. When you win a title, you got to face Nyla. I really like that AEW is letting Nyla be more her. They were both kind of playing with each other. There was a moment where Nyla was mocking Mariah May doing this, and there was a bunch of, and she kissed her on the forehead. But Mariah May is still fantastic, and to have that, like you said before, that her match against Tony was, I think, one of the best. It was probably one of the top 3. It already had all the storytelling for days, but one of the assets that Swerve has, and what really separates good wrestlers from great wrestlers, is the ability to tell a story in the ring. You can have all the storytelling for months, if you will. You could have all the long-term storytelling, or you could have just hey, you're going to have this match tonight at last minute. But the art of building a story in the ring with emotion, with facial expressions, with the back and forth, the story, I feel like that's an asset that separates good wrestlers from the great wrestlers. And Mariah May has got that in spades. She knows how to emote. She knows who her character is. She knows how to interact with the crowd, how to get the most out of her opponent. And when Mariah May has a great dance partner, they're going to tear the roof. And Nyla was great. Nyla gets a bad rap sometimes, but I feel like Nyla did fantastic with this. I'm curious to see who's going to be Mariah May's challenger. But I have a feeling that maybe when Jamie Hayter's done running through the Outcasts, maybe she's going to be heading this way. Also, of course, Thunder Rosa, would love to see her back in the title picture. So it's going to be interesting to see how that's going to go down.
Yeah, a lot of new matches available. I mean, Mariah has already had such a great laundry list of matches that she's had with talent. So you're going to start to have to recirculate a few if you really want to give her some high caliber baby faces in AEW in the women's division. On the other side of the coin there, you have the other match, Jamie Hayter versus Robin Renegade, which it's great to see Hayter back. She's got the new look, new gear. It's like a total different person, absolutely. Yeah. But you can tell she's pumped up. She's fired up. She's back. She's feeling it. She's high-fiving everyone in the crowd. This wasn't the way we thought this was going to happen when her return happened on the preview show or the buy-in at All In. I think the props to the commentator team to really tie in her direction and her motivation that she's at right now. Because, we kind of did it just the whole, reuniting with her friend, but it makes more sense now due to the commentator team, which they're doing a great job of revenge, putting her on the shelf for so long, and with the interviews that she's done and all that. And so she's seeking revenge of what caused her to have that 15 months she took off. So I think it's great job for them to recirculate that. I thought this match was short and sweet, but it was well fought by both competitors in this one. And this is just a taste of what we've been missing with the hard-hitting hater in the women's division. And that's what we grew to love about her. It was her aggressive, hard-hitting offense. And it's great to have her back. And it's going to be tough to stop her.
Absolutely. And I do think that she got a better reaction at this crowd than last week. You know, Champaign, Illinois, man, you guys got to do better next time. But here she did fantastic. You know how I feel. I'm Renegade fan for life, and
of course,
I think Robin is. I love when Robin gets TV time. I'm hoping she and Charlotte will reunite and perhaps become the first AEW tag team champions, or maybe I'd even settle for ROH tag team champions. But I think this was a great start for return for Jamie Hayter to come back to with our last week, almost like a reboot, like a mulligan from last week. But I do think what's probably going to happen is after she's done with Saraya, we're going to see her and Tony Storm perhaps go at it, and so that might be because it was Tony Storm, I think, that officially was the reason she took the time off. So maybe I'm just going to be interested to see how that goes. And who knows? And then from there, does she springboard to Mariah May? I don't know. I just think that, Jamie looks great, even if she does look like she's from a Mardi Gras float. I think she does look great. I think it's interesting too, the red hair, because I think a lot of people, when she showed up at All In, a lot of people initially thought this was Becky Lynch. Yeah, with the hair, because all they saw was the hair. But we'll see.
I was a little shocked with that too. I think I'm all for like rebranding yourself when you can make a return and all that. Not to throw stones in a glass house or anything, but I do the red hair is growing on me, and I think like the way she had her kind of like black and white hair and her gear like that, it just kind of fit her badassness. And because she is a badass, like this is not I'm trying to think, a Willow, even though Willow's actually really badass too, but it's not. This is someone who hits
hard,
super hard, hits hard.
Hater hits hard.
Your attire and I think should kind of match that a little bit. Like I like Robin Renegade's attire. I like her in-ring gear, and I think she hits hard too. So we'll see where that goes. We're not the fashion police.
I will say this though, I am all for her separating from Britt Baker, because I think she needs to be. I think she needs to step away from that. That I almost feel like now we need to see Jamie Hayter solo go through, roughshod on her way to the title, and I think that's the direction to go.
All right,
we'll see.
I like it.
I could be wrong.
The trios match of the night. The main event match of the night. Holy cow! This thing was the crowd. I think that Pac and Ospreay are going to deliver one of the best matches we've ever seen, and I'm sad we're not getting more of a build. And that's back to circling back to the front at the beginning of the show that we talked about how much they've built this match or built this card for All Out in such a short amount of time. Mm-hmm. What Pac did last week to Ospreay when he came out in just a brutal reverse Hurricane Rana, like, oh my gosh, right on his head. And then what he did to him in the backstage, I mean, the crowd was eating it up when they first got into the ring together. And they did that quick little segment where they're countering, mirroring each other back and back and back and back.
Oh, yes.
This is definitely, going to be match of the night. And I think it's one of those that you got to separate it from the main event, even though this could be a main event. Like open the show. If you open the show with this, I mean, the bar is going to be set astronomically high. But
I do not want to go on after them.
No matter what, it's going to be a tough one to follow. This is one of those, I think, matches that it's just going to be, everyone's going to be talking about it for weeks to come. But we could talk about that later. Let's talk about what we got last night, this trios match. So the new trios champs, what do you think? You know, I didn't get your full review and recap and kind of like thoughts on stuff, including this, like this trios group. How did you feel that match? Are you happy that these guys are the trios champs?
I think this was the plan, except I think the plan was originally Death Triangle. You know, right. I think that, but you know, what's going on with that? We don't need to speak on that, but things happen. I do think it's interesting. I'm surprised a little bit because I'm surprised House of Black didn't get it. I am wondering what's going on with House of Black,
right.
Or at least, you know, because this is, you know, you have obviously now I've got nothing but love for all three of them, but it's weird to have Pac with the BCC without any kind of finality on what's going on with the BCC,
right?
And what's going on with Pac, you know, and then on the other side, you have two very well-established trios. Actually,
right.
Technically three, because you could argue you have Top Flight with Action Andretti. You've got, you know, obviously the folks that were in the match. You've got the BCC or your Bullet Club Gold. And you've got the House of Black. You've got these established trios that make more sense to have the trios gold.
Sure.
I understand. I mean, I don't think any of us doubted that Christian Cage, Bastard Combat Club. Now that would be cool.
I love it.
I don't think there's any doubt that it was going to go to one of the other teams, not Christian Cage group. Of course, the way that Christian Cage won the gauntlet was fantastic. But I think that this is it's interesting, but I think it's one of those things where if you just roll with it, it's actually going to turn into something we're all going to enjoy. As far as, you know, just putting, you know, injecting my veins, Pac and Will Ospreay, this won't be the last time we see the two of them together.
Oh my god!
The look on my face is the same as Pac's in this picture of how I'm looking forward to that match. And I thought it was interesting how they also ended up, you've got Claudio and Wheeler Yuta all of a sudden challenging the Bucks for the titles. So that might be another match that shows up Saturday as well. So it's going to be interesting to see how that goes. But, you know, there's only one thing it's all about. It's all about the Scoot.
He's back, baby.
Scoot is back, baby.
I thought this match could have gone longer just because of the caliber. I think this was definitely a shining moment for Claudio. I think as we have seen over the last months, and you know, not to be a broken record, but just the growth of Claudio. I loved what he had to say after the match. You know, he's in the mood for collecting gold, and he sets up that match with the Young Bucks for tag team. So at first I was shocked. But I'm a people pleaser and I'm a baby face. I'm happy that Tony Khan gave the people what they want, gave the bastard his Wembley moment that he 100% deserves, and giving him another run with the trios titles. I think that you could see him, you know, make this a real deal, make this like a nice trios for a run for a while. And so Claudio is just so damn impressive, man. I just can't get over him. Like, it's just how great he is in the ring, and how like his offense is just so overpowering at times and so just impressive. So this was a great match to showcase Claudio. I think leaving this match, that's what I'm remembering. They did a great job with the backstage stuff and the little time together that Ospreay and Pac got to have. And so, you know, there was a lot of times I was like, oh gosh, the conglomeration is going to win again. They're going to beat these shit trios. And then, you know, when O'Reilly had him with that sleeper hold over and over and over again, and Claudio fighting back. And then Orange gets the orange punch and all this. I thought it was like, oh, he's going to, in the TK special, Orange Cassidy's going to win. And then, sure enough, the trios champs, as they should, defend and win this match. The match that we're getting on Collision, the All-Star 8-man tag, 8 superstars, every single one has a belt. That is just insane to me. Insane to me. You have 8 different people in a match, and they all have different belts that we're going to see on Collision. So it's going to be a lot of fun, and I think that just the showcase of the talent level that we have here in AEW.
It's almost as unbelievable as somebody winning a title on Battle of the Belts. I mean, it's almost that. It's almost that
true.
unbelievable. In fact, yeah, that should have been a Battle of the Belts. Should have been something where it's all champions fighting each other, or something like that. But whatever.
Battle of the Belts, Battle Royale, winner takes all.
Yeah, winner gets all the belts. There you go.
I want to give us plenty of time to talk about this because this is definitely lots of buzz around with this. And I turned off Dynamite last night just like grinning and like, holy cow. And we have talked about this, and this is nothing. This is not a Dynamite download claim to fame or anything, but we all know, and we're on board with the IWC, that this is definitely one of the best feuds in AEW's history and all of wrestling currently. The bad blood that these two have exchanged over the last year has been just amazing to watch. As fans, we're just getting absolutely incredible stuff. And this is the 4th marquee match that these two are going head to head. And if it's like anything like last time, their singles match, that one was a tough one to get through. That match was definitely a tough one to get through. That death match, and I had to take a breather for a little bit. And to have a steel cage, unsanctioned, lights out match, man, how are you feeling about it?
First of all, if you pull that graphic back up, the one you just had.
Okay, yeah.
What I love, just look at the progression of Hangman's face in each promo. First, there's regular Hangman.
Yeah, babyface.
Then there's kind of off Hangman at full gear. Then there's ticked off, I'm coming for blood Hangman. And now unhinged Hangman.
Crazy-eyed.
I mean, dude is lost his mind at this point. I don't think there's anybody in the IWC that didn't think, at least partially, that Hangman was going to burn down Swerve's home, because they announced over on that morning, they sent AEW sent that video package of Nana and Swerve saying, "Hey, I can finally buy my home. My kids and grandkids are going to be able." I mean, it was totally like he's saying this, and we're all just thinking, "Man, Hangman's going to destroy this house." Yeah. And sure enough, Hanger shows up. You can hear him pouring gasoline before he actually shows the gasoline can, but you just know he's burning this place down. And sure enough, that's what he did. And I thought it was fantastic. I thought, everybody saw it coming a mile away, but we knew it was going to happen. But the execution was better than I think we all expected, especially him sitting in the chair, drinking a whiskey while the place burns down. I mean, and you gotta give it. See, and this again goes back to what makes this. These are two of the best in the business. These are two of the best in AEW, because Swerve, of course, I'm biased. Swerve's my favorite, but they both know how to let the story play out in their matches. The emotion, the way that Swerve reacted to this, the shaking, there's nothing he can do. The next level, the of this whole thing. To me, I think that's what a match, a marquee match is all about. Yes, give me Pac versus Will Ospreay all day long, but when you have a match with story like this is why we tune into TV shows. This is why we want, the season finale of our favorite shows, is we want to see the resolution, and it's not always the good guy winning. This could go either way. Hanger could win. You don't know what's going to happen here. That's what I love about it. This is, I believe, this is the first naturally homegrown feud that AEW has produced, because up until this point, I mean, there have been, you could argue MJF and Jericho, or you could argue, the Bucks and FTR, but that kind of started before AEW, with the being the elite stuff back and forth. I don't know. I mean, Art, tell us in the chat what you think, but I feel like Hanger versus Swerve is going to be one of those feuds that 10 years from now, we're still going to be talking about. In 10 years, like, there's still going to be, it's going to be one of those like Rock and Austin kind of things, I think.
This could go on and on. This is the feud that never ends. It goes on and on, my friend. The fact that we got this rekindled after he essentially kind of went away and like let Swerve have his awesome title run and reign and do some great stuff and kind of just tease it and just come back just pissed off with the psycho eyes. And I think you're absolutely right. And this thing, I mean, this was if we didn't get anything after the last match they had, like, it would have been just, chef's kiss, as you like to say. But the fact that they were getting more of this, there's so much more to the story, and a huge W and a huge win social media for what we talked about in our text message chain about the little nuances that you saw in Hanger's Titantron in his videos with a picture of the house, a picture of flames and things like that. And so little Easter eggs that we were getting, whether I would have to go back and watch old episodes and try to see if like how early this was actually in there. So, the social media can be so toxic, and that's why here at Dynamite Download we always try to strive in all positivity and uplift and spread the love and spread the good vibes on Dynamite Download. But this social media crew, whoever found this stuff about Hangers, intro video with all the little Easter eggs, props to them, whoever did that. That is fantastic stuff. But back to your not to get off topic, but the homegrown feud, I think, because it involves Hangman and Omega versus the Young Bucks. That was one of those other homegrown feuds. I feel like that was just so top notch, and it wasn't even a world title feud. I thought, because I just saw some kind of clip of how their tag team ended, Omega and Hangman. That feud was just top notch as well. Yeah. But this, oh gosh, the world title is the world title. But this, I think, respectively to the locker room and this being the main event is definitely the right decision.
Well, let's be perfectly honest. I mean, kayfabe aside, if Bryan Danielson wasn't with the company, Swerve would still have the title. And I say this with all respect, and you know how Full Tilt Deb feels about Bryan Danielson. This is me talking, not Full Tilt Deb. But I think that the title, world championship, that's the sign of respect. That's the mark of respect. That's the mark of you are the top. You're the one that represents our company. You're the one that the face of our company.
Right.
And I think that, with Bryan Danielson looking to retire, he's not going to be wrestling, consistently. He's going to probably be in a much more of a backstage role, or maybe, God forbid, commentator or something. I'd love to see him sitting next to Nigel on commentary. That would be pretty interesting. Right. But I think that, that title represents who in the business is your top tier guy, who's the guy, or who's the talent. And that doesn't necessarily mean the others are lesser. In fact, that's why, the titles will change hands back and forth. But I do think that aside from Bryan Danielson being the current champion, this match is the marquee match. These are the two top guys right now. I feel like, and definitely Swerve. I feel like, obviously you could argue Will Ospreay too, but these are the two guys right now I think are doing the best in AEW. And yeah, it's good. Like Steven says, it's going to be a bloodbath. And I agree, smart to make it as the main event, because I don't think you want to clean up after this one, and you certainly don't want to wrestle after this one. And
No,
like
I would
Steve
be,
says,
as a fan, either live and watching it on pay-per-view, Fight TV. You get it now, get it while you can. I think this would be just like I mentioned, the last time they had that Texas Death Match, I was exhausted. It was like watching a horror movie, like a thriller, and then it's coming to an end. And it's like, I don't like horror movies, but in suspenseful movies, but when I do watch a suspenseful movie or show or anything, I'm like, I need to go for a walk, or I need to like put on like Friends or something funny and light.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't have that opportunity in wrestling. Like, if especially pay-per-view, you have match after match after match. And so it wouldn't be fair to the locker room to have something follow that, because we know it's going to be such a huge match. And we keep talking about that feud because it's so fun. But looking at this card, I honestly, I still think if you put Osprey match first or the MJF match first, that would be good. But before the Hangman match, you can do, I guess, the Danielson match. I mean, why not? Because it could be like the co-main event. You would have to do that. Anywhere else on the card would be very interesting to have the world title not defended near the tail end of the card.
I think it's interesting. Mariah May doesn't have an opponent yet, and is she going to defend
right
All Out? I don't know. Maybe let her sit this one out. Maybe let her sit out because of, like you said, because there is such a thing as pay-per-view exhaustion. I mean, no matter how great the pay-per-view is, there's going to be a point where you're just like, and and anybody that goes on after Osprey and Pac is going to be hard pressed to continue that thing. Anybody that goes and it's smart like they said, having the cage match there. Do you put Danielson and Jack Perry in front of that? I don't think so. Do you put Mercedes and Sheeta right before? I don't know. It's going to be interesting, but I do think if you spread it out, this is right now. If this was the pay-per-view and nothing else, I'm fine with that. I think it's going to be a tremendous night, but we know there's going to be more matches added tomorrow.
This is 8 matches, and I don't think you can add maybe one more to the main card, and then you throw in 1 to 2 on the 0 hour, and then you throw in a 55-man tag match as well in the 0 hour. And I think the way I would book it, which is always fun, and I'm never correct, I would book obviously the Swerve Hangman is the last match, second to last the Danielson. I would, because even though he's going to put on an awesome match and it's going to be awesome for both guys, the excitement level will still be there, but it'll still give you that top marquee end of card type of match. And then you could even put Mercedes the third from last, so like those 3, and then kind of mix and match. I would, if you start the show with Osprey or MJF or even the tag match, I think that's a good call. But we're not the bookers, we're just the marks.
I hope people realize something that it drives me nuts. Social media is such a joke sometimes for people. They got to have something to complain about. Imagine AEW never existed. Like, we are getting tremendous matches. Like, a lot of the complaints I see are nitpicks. There really are. And I'm not saying I'm immune to them. There's things that I'm like, I would have rather this. I think this could have done this. Maybe this could have been better. But it's like, you got to remember, when AEW was created, when they first signed that first TV deal, Time Warner, it was a Turner. They were like hoping that occasionally they would get 500,000 views, because otherwise they're going to put reruns of the Golden Girls or Young Sheldon. That's
save us all.
AEW is not competing with WWE. AEW is, as a program, is competing with whatever they would replace AEW with on network television. And AEW's killing it. I mean, the fact that they're incorporating AEW, they got that new program with hey, watch people eat it the epic fails montage or whatever it's called. I don't know what it is, but it's definitely a huge thing. And AEW's existence has really made it awesome for us as wrestling fans. It's been great it's also great for the talent, because now, like, if a talent is future endeavored by WWE, they have options. And even options, and even this has really given a surge to the independent scene. Matt Cardona has made a tremendous career being an independent wrestler. I mean, he'll show up on TNA every once in a while, but there's so much. The AEW has really, it brought us back as wrestling fans. It got my wife to like wrestling, and she used to joke about it all the time. AEW is doing not just fine, it's doing great. And I think a lot of times people, they know that negativity gets the clicks, negativity gets the engagement. And that's why a lot of people, like our cheese board friend, they love to do that. And one of the things we commit to at Dynamite Download is we avoid the negativity. We focus on the positive, and we refuse to give into that for a cheap click, because we could get the cheap clicks if we wanted to and have the controversial headline and get all the ohs going on. But that's why, we appreciate the Dynamite Download Universe Galaxy. That's why we appreciate all of you guys supporting us. It drives me nuts whenever people go, oh, they're a little down in the ratings, or, oh, this. Guess what? I'm loving it. I think it's fun. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, just go on with yourself. Go have fun. Go have fun. We'll enjoy.
This is where the best wrestle. This is where the best wrestle. And man, I am pumped up for tomorrow. Tomorrow's Collision and Saturday's show. A lot's going on, and if this is like full throttle type of stuff. And but tomorrow or Friday night, we're gonna do our all out preview show. So join us on our YouTube channel live. We're gonna do our all out preview show, and we're gonna make our predictions. We're going to talk about the card a little bit more in depth, and we're gonna and just get excited and pumped for the weekend, because a lot's going on this weekend in sports, in wrestling, a lot of great feuds. So join us tomorrow on that. And then that's going to be it. That's going to finalize draft season 3. So a lot's at stake this weekend, both in the ring and here at Dynamite Download. And then we'll talk all about draft season 4 moments after that. But so join us tomorrow for our all-out preview show. We're posted on our YouTube. Follow us. You can watch us on Twitter as well, on X. And thank you guys for joining us. Good to see you all in the chat. We appreciate you for sticking around and love having you guys. And enjoy the weekend of wrestling. And hope to see you guys tomorrow for our preview show.
Peace out. 2 fingers.